cloud-fed water moving slowly through the veins of England. It fills the lakes, it sweetens land, turns the mill wheel, shifts the sand. This flowing mansion's open door gives up its food, its strength, and more. Most precious gift for being free, the waterways of England.
That could have been written about this stream. What's it called?
Story Brook.
It's one of our favourite walks, isn't it, Fred?
Well, I found Uncle Jim.
My God. Probably a baby dinosaur.
What is it, Hilly? You found it in the stream, just by that tree. It's too big for a rat. Could be an otter. According to Lady Pat, they used to breed here. Let's go see what else is left of it.
Must have died of that smell. Methane poisoning. Rotten eggs.
Isn't that just where Tom stirred it up?
All the weeds. This river is chock-a-block with fertiliser.
You know, for a Londoner, Jim, you're very well informed.
Well, a few years ago, in the Regent's Canal, which you may or may not have heard about, they had a similar problem.
Fred, why don't you take some of the water and see if Jim's right? Get Dr. Norris to analyse it.
What do I put it in?
Self-sacrifice again?
Make sure you rinse it out, Fred. Yes, well, it's an interesting bit of history, John.
But does it work, eh?
Good question, Tom. No, she doesn't. Well, not yet. Isn't the wheel, isn't the rod, isn't the linkage?
By the look of it, you're pouring about a drum of oil down his throat every day. Tell you what the trouble is, John. It's those trees. You see, in your father's day, they'd have been about half that height. They're acting as a windbreak, which is, I suppose, why he planted them.
You sure, Jack? Well, it's been very calm these past few weeks. Hasn't it been calm, Harriet?
Yeah.
Get a good wind, she'll soon take off.
Yeah, but you still need a cup of tea and the odd light, even when it's calm.
No, there's the Arga for the kettle. And as for light, well, it doesn't get dark till after 10.
In winter.
But that's my point, Jack. In winter, it isn't calm. And I can't chop that lot down, can I?
Not really, no.
You could raise the windmill.
How do you mean?
Well, you could put another section on each corner and raise it up about 12 feet. Yeah, that should do it.
No, you'd need better foundations. I'm not sure it's worth it, John.
Well, I couldn't do it myself. You'll give us a hand, won't you? I'll make it worth your while.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long, surely.
Which pile is which again, Harriet? I've forgotten.
Stop for the clinic nearest the house, then the keep pile, then bonfire pile.
Clinic, keep, bonfire, got it. What are we going to do with all this space we're creating? Fill it with the next 20 years junk?
Do you know, Jim, it wouldn't take much to smarten the place up a bit. Splash a bit of paint on the wall, do some fiddly bits round the windows.
Harriet, that whole outhouse is one large fiddly bit. You can count me out.
Look at this, girls. She's got Jim at it now.
But why is it whenever I come to stay with you, you end up working me to the bone?
Community spirit, Jim.
Bad luck, Uncle Jim.
Thanks a lot. Now, what am I bid for this highly uninteresting collection of antiques? Illy?
Oh, no, not on the bonfire. That's the chair that Mary Stevens gave us the first Christmas we were married. Remember, Jack?
Yeah, she couldn't wait to get rid of it.
Keep pile, Jim.
Keep pile, Jim.
Keep pile, Jim.
Morning, Lady Pat. Morning. A few bits and pieces for the clinic.
Useful plant pot. Useful chair.
And another useful chair.
Useful filing cabinet.
Looks like somebody's been having a bit of a clear out.
Yes, Harriet. From what Jim tells me, she's creating a west wing from one of the outbuildings.
Jim, it may be my imagination, but isn't this building smaller on the inside than the out?
Buildings usually are. It's 11'6".
Yes. I think there's another room here. Jim, do you think we could just make a very small hole?
Well, we'll talk about it in the pub.
Lady Pat? Where's this from? Stowy Brook?
Yes, quite possibly. My ancestors used to hunt otters, I'm ashamed to say.
Yeah, well, then it was dogs, and now it's chemicals.
Yes, but where did the chemicals come from?
Sorry, can't help you there.
But it's your land.
Hang on a minute, Freddie. No, what she mean...
Why don't you let her speak for herself, Jack? Yes, Freddie?
You own the land. You should have... I don't know, but you've let it all happen.
Why have we let such a beautiful creature disappear, you mean? Yes, Freddie, you're quite right to be concerned. Of course, if the river's full of chemicals, the man to blame's Donald Passworthy. Picture.
Chantry Farm? Surely not.
Never liked the man. Fancies himself as landed, bit of a squire. Falls awfully short, of course.
Your brother-in-law was only partially right. I found nitrates and phosphates as expected. And one or two things our European partners would slap us for.
Such as?
Malachite green, for example. Growth hormones, sort of stuff farmers use on cattle.
Well, how would that get in the water?
Ashes to ashes. We should get onto the NRA, you know, see if they can help us.
What's that?
National Rivers Authority.
Well, I'll tell her. Thanks for doing it so quickly, Graham.
Only a fool would keep Freddie waiting. The clinic's up and running, I hear.
Yes, but I'm not exactly inundated with clients yet.
There's someone I'd like you to see. Name's Jenny Allatin.
Allatin's Tribe Farm?
Stowy Brook made connections for me.
She's a paraplegic. Riding accident. I think Shiatsu might help her.
Fine.
I'm Harriet Bolt. I spoke to your sister on the phone.
I never took to that doctor, you know. Nothing but a kid.
Oh, really? Well, I like him. I think he's a good doctor, too.
I suppose you would if he puts business your way. As far as Sis goes, he's run out of ideas. That's where you come in. Last resort. Is this Mrs. Bolt for you? Sent from Norris.
Hello. I was wondering what you looked like, so I drew you.
nothing like her.
I'm sure Mrs. Bolt would like a cup of tea, Bran. Have you got time to make one, please?
Sugar?
No, thanks.
He's right, of course. It never is a likeness.
That's what I sound like.
Sit down. He told you what the problem was then, Dr. Norris?
About the accident, yes.
That's over and done with. What gets to me now is the ache from lying here. Sometimes I ache so badly I could scream the place down. Sometimes I do. I frighten the fish.
Go on, then. Tell me what you've done today. What have I done today?
Yeah. Take me through it step by step.
Well, it's not very interesting.
Oh, I bet you it is.
Well, I've cleared out a building. Junk.
Where?
At home.
I know that. Where? In relation to the barn, let's say.
Oh, you know the house, then?
I can see it clear as day. Played there as a kid, you know.
Well, then, north from the barn...
Where the horse chestnut is?
Was... I'm afraid we had to cut it down. It got damaged in the storm. So, north from the barn and past the stump of the old conker tree.
Godwin's hovel.
Who was Godwin?
Emily Godwin. She was a really interesting woman.
Would you rather talk for a while?
I would really. Emily Godwin. My great-grandfather used to talk about her. She was quite a character, apparently.
I knew someone lived there. Yes. So what was she like?
A maid of some sort. She worked for the Brules up at the house. Room and board thrown in until she went crazy. And then she was put out to grass on your land.
When was this?
Middle of the last century.
Think?
Kids were scared of her. And she was more than a maid should be, if you follow me. There'd been an education somewhere.
Always terrified people that. How do you know this?
Local history. First I thought it would pass the time. Now I don't get enough time.
Well, then you might know why she bricked up a room at the end of the building.
I didn't know there were 2 rooms.
I'm almost sure there are.
Well, you must knock it through. See what she's been hiding all these years.
See that, Freddie? Looks like Passworthy's got something to hide. His slurry tank's pretty close to the stream.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Tom, you and I need to have a little discussion, man to wimp.
What is it, Uncle Jim?
You know very well. Now go and put that in the cupboard under the sink.
So, how was Jenny Allatin?
Well, it's a miserable, dark place, but she's quite the opposite. Oh, Jim. Somebody lived in the junk house. In the last century, apparently her name was Emily Godwin.
Ah, must have been a bricklayer.
No, she's a bit of an eccentric. I think that if there's anything behind that woman, it could be very interesting.
Could be frightening. Skeletons, maybe.
Oh, and there's probably no connection, but Jenny did tell me that there was a spate of burglaries from the big houses round about the same time.
Was much taken?
Well, usual things, you know, gold, silver, paintings, that sort of thing.
Sounds interesting. Well, good evening.
Sorry we're late.
Yes, you're all so wet.
It's going to be quite a storm.
Lady Pat was right. We think it's that Donald Passworthy.
Freddie?
He didn't like us snooping round, did he, Fred?
We think he's been tipping something into the water.
What, fertilisers?
Just
Waste?
hold on, you two.
Slurry, we reckon.
Well, I'm afraid Dr. Norris doesn't agree with you. His report's over there. I mean, there's a few hormones in this story, but very little else.
Hormones?
Well, don't just seize on the word, Freddie. I know it's emotive.
Dad, stop trying to calm me down all the time. OK, the otters have gone, so what's next? The swans on Stowy Mere? The kingfishers? The dragonflies? Look, there it is. Comes out of nowhere, clean as a whistle and free. Then the first thing we do, sometimes before it's even hit the ground, is poison it. Then we drink it.
Do you know, if the girls do take on Don Passworthy, I think we should go with them.
Don can look after himself.
Yeah, well, your favourite daughter may make a fool of herself. It's amazing to think of the change in her. She used to be so pale.
Freddie pale. Hardly seems possible.
Well, Jenny Allatin's like that now. Only worse. No sunlight. Oh.
Hello? All right. I'll be there straight away.
Who is it?
John Hastings.
It won't happen. I can tell by the look on your face you don't believe it, do you? You don't like being beaten. But the legs are not on our side. What the kids doing today? Where's Tom?
Oh, he's out with a school friend, and Freddie's cleaning up the stowie. I'm not absolutely sure what's wrong with him. There used to be otters there, you know.
Remember them?
She got quite emotional about it. They sail their boats, chase dragonflies and fish for newts. With deck chairs, knitting, picnic tea, they sit in family harmony, whilst flows beneath the winding glaze the deadly waste of England. There he is. About time too.
Morning, girls.
Morning.
So what's the plan then?
Lady Pat's meeting us here at 11 o'clock. She's late as well.
And then the cavalry and the infantry charge and take the slurry tanks to Chantry Farm, right?
She wants to make sure they're leaking.
Yeah, but what if they aren't?
Oh, it was all so perfect round here. I wonder why the otters bothered to leave.
Morning!
Morning, Lady Pat.
Oh. Would you, Jack? Right, slurry tanks. Leak. Do they or don't they?
Lady Pat. Lady Pat. Lady Pat. Could I have a word in private?
Of course, this used to be a public bridal way. He's taken down the sign thinking no one would notice. Typical of new money.
Lady Pat? Lady Pat?
Donald!
Hello, Jack. Fishing, Lady Pat?
We're just taking a drop of your river for analysis, if that's okay.
Help yourself, but why one us?
Well, the girls would like to encourage the otters back. Seems there might be one or two problems.
Taking a sample from your own land, Pat?
Jack, be so kind as to tell that man that there is nothing the matter with our stretch of the river.
How could there be? Been in the family for years, eh?
We do have some small experience in farming matters, 5,000 acres to be precise.
Any time you feel like offloading some of it, do give me first refusal. By the way, Jack, if there is something wrong with the water, I have a pretty good idea where it's coming from. Saw a delivery only yesterday, malachite green, so if you find high levels of that...
Malachite green? I think Dr. Norris mentioned that in this report.
Used for treating fish.
And what about these hormones?
Curious, yes, but they don't keep otters away. Allatin's trout farm might be worth a look.
They feed hormones to fish?
To anything that grows, Jack. Modern farms are awash with the stuff.
Listen, why don't you take a sample upstream of my land and another upstream of Allatin's? That'll prove I'm playing the game. Or don't you want that to be the truth, Lady Pat?
Just think, 200 years ago, you could have had him horsewhipped.
I'd have done it myself. Right, on with the day. Allatin's farm. Samples.
Don't sympathise. I couldn't bear it. These are the latest reports, Graham?
Yeah.
What's the news?
Well, Lady Pat may not like Don Passworthy, but he could just be right. Allatin's trout farm.
She's a very good judge of character.
Yeah, but not necessarily water.
The top one's from just above Allatin's. Now, I'm not saying you should drink it, but you wouldn't keel over if you did. The other one's from just above Passworthy and just below Allatin's. Heavy with nitrates, phosphates, hormones, malachite.
God.
According to the NRA, what happens is this. Nitrates, that's to say detritus from the fish, make the weeds grow.
And weeds choke the river.
Right. But in other places, the opposite happens. Nitrates can't get through the barrage of silt. So?
Plants disappear.
Doesn't take much to upset the balance, does it?
Absolutely. I mean, no one could say Stowybrook's a disaster. But once the spawning beds are damaged, you can say goodbye to chub, roach, bream.
And if you're an otter, your food disappears. That's it.
So what do we do?
Well, Brian Allen's got to be told. I mean, there's just a chance he doesn't know.
Brian Allen? There isn't much he doesn't know.
Can I say something? Look, I know we've got to talk to him, but for Jenny's sake, can we tread very carefully?
Yeah, well, I don't think that's a problem. I mean, it's just a few neighbours dropping in, asking for a favour.
You've got to be firm, Dad. You've got to give him no way out. Otherwise, he'll do nothing, I know.
Freddie, no one is going to allow Brian Allatin to go on poisoning Stowybrook. That I promise you.
Hello. What a surprise.
How are you?
I'm very well. I thought you said Friday.
Oh, yes, Friday's fine. It's just that we've got a bit of a problem.
The kids are okay, aren't
Oh,
they?
no, it's nothing like that. But you know I told you that Freddie was cleaning up the Stowy?
Single-handed.
No, well, she's got a bit of help now. She's got me and Jack and Dr. Norris.
My favourite.
And Lady Pat and Hilly and John Hasty. And, well, it seems that Brian has been unbalancing the river.
You mean the fish have? The chemicals?
Yes. And they want to have a talk with him about it.
Oh, that's fine. When?
Today.
Today? When?
Well, now.
Now, heavens. Well, they're going to want tea, aren't they? And sandwiches and...
Oh, just look at the state of me.
They can't see me like this. You're going to have to help me.
Yes, of course I will.
Come on. Right.
What then?
The wardrobe. Find me something that doesn't need ironing.
Mr. Allatin. Jack Bolt.
Oh, yeah?
Mr. Allatin, a few of your neighbours have got together and come up with one or two ideas we'd like to put to you.
Put them in a letter.
Yeah, well, I believe people have written in the past. We just thought the personal touch might help.
OK, fire away.
All right. Well, if we could just wait for a couple of minutes till the others get here.
The others?
Very good-looking man. Yeah, he's not so bad, Jack. This is Jenny Allatin.
Jenny, nice to meet you at last.
Jim, I've heard so much about you.
And this is Tom.
Of course it is. Hello, Tom.
And
Hello.
Jim Lewis.
Hi.
Your brother-in-law. Hello, nice to meet you.
Knows how to hit a nail firmly on the thumb.
Well, I thought we could all have tea on the lawn.
Tea on the lawn?
Don't go to any trouble.
Look! That must be Freddie on the right. Wheel me over, Harriet.
Here, tie those ruddy things up. Clumping all over my yard.
Hello, girls.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Freddie.
I think it's about time someone said what all this is about.
It's about the river, Brian. We've done some tests on the water, and I think you should have a look at the results.
Well, why not then? Freddie's got the analysis. Freddie?
Well, to put it mildly, Mr. Allatin, the stuff you're discharging into Stowy Brook is causing a lot of problems. See, I told you he wouldn't listen.
Let's all go to the trout farm, shall we? Bit of a picnic. Take the kids and the horses. Cup of tea thrown.
I've heard that, Brian.
Mr. Allatin, we came here because we're interested in the well-being of the river, just as you are, surely.
Do you know what your problem is? You can't cope in company. You've never been able to, not even as a kid.
She came here first to do your massage. Turned into a snooper.
Your sister's treatment and the river have absolutely nothing to do with one another.
Bloody right they haven't, because you're not coming here anymore.
Take no notice of him. It's all wind.
I notice that not all of my neighbours are here. Where's John Hasty, for example?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm talking for John.
Say him what?
Well, it seems that nitrates are growing weeds which are clogging his stretch of the river.
And I'm to blame.
If the cap fits, Brian.
No, hang on. No, we're not apportioning blame.
Well, what good is that? If we can't say where the trouble's coming from, how can we put a stop to it? Mr. Allatin, you're to blame, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Nice kids you've got. And I bet you all enjoy a nice trout for your tea. And you didn't say no when I offered you some the other day. Buckshee. Massage.
We're quite happy to pay. Brian, don't stop Jenny's treatment now. She's doing so well.
Can we please just stick to the point?
Look, I mean, haven't you noticed a difference in her?
Yes, there was a time when she stood by me.
Look! Another visitor. Could you help me, Harriet?
I've got to do something about this chair, Jack. It's an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, one thing at a time, love. You know Lady Pat, do you, Brian?
Yes, I know her all right. What the hell is this? Gymkhana, dog show, London to Brighton run. Tea on the lawn. What are you doing?
I have a feeling today should be recorded.
Listen, Brian, you always were an awkward fellow.
Always.
But underneath there's no malice in you.
Who the hell do you think you're talking to?
Brian, all we're really talking about is a settling pool.
Oh, you're an expert on fish farming as well. Why has everybody got their knives out? I'm just a bloke trying to do a job and earn a living.
Because you're flushing nitrates, phosphates, malachite green and hormones into our river. That's why.
Well said, Freddie.
Brian, the bottom line is that there is no settling pool. All your waste is going directly into the river.
But you said you dug one 3 years ago.
Yeah, well, I meant to. So what? I couldn't afford it.
Look, if it's simply a matter of excavation, Jack will be more than happy to lend you the digger.
I don't want his digger.
The law has ways of insisting.
Oh, it's the thumbscrews now, is it? This is all your fault, this. Bloody Londoners, you move in here, then you start changing everything to suit yourselves.
It's not fair, Brian.
Making up to her so you can spy on me. Don't think she got enough on her plate without some crank making her believe she'll walk again?
Do you know what angers me most of all, Brian Allatin? It's not the way you treat the river, it's the way you treat your sister. You keep her cooped up in one of the most depressing rooms I've ever seen in my life. And I know it's hard looking after her, and I know you feed her and you change the sheets and you buy her the odd book to read every now and then. But when was the last time you took her out? Took her to town or for a picnic or for a ride in the van? And look at this. Would it be so hard to fix it or to iron a dress or get a hairdresser to call once in a while?
She never complained.
Well, she should have. I know I would have. And I am now. You do what you want about the river, but you... First of all, you take better care of your sister.
A hydro turbine. Why are you so keen on this idea?
You see, all this occurred to me when I realised just how powerful Storybrooke could get.
Well, what's wrong with the setup I had?
It falls down, John. These storms we've been getting recently, they're not just one-offs, you know. They might be here to stay.
Greenhouse effect. I don't go along with that.
This thing I've got in mind can withstand all the climatic changings you care to throw at it. See, basically, it's a metal box with a simple rotary device inside. Now, I could put that together for you.
But, Jack, it's money.
Of course it is, but it's not much. And it'll pay for itself in 2 years. See, it's the simplicity which appeals. A concrete slab to mount it on. A few sandbags to shape the site. Bob's your uncle.
What's the metal?
Stainless steel, Ali. John, you've got to stop improvising.
What head of water does it need?
Virtually nothing. A 1 metre drop will do it. Mind you, you've got to clean out Storybrooke a mile or so upstream.
Yeah, okay, John. Right then, boys. Get ready. Walk on. Hold on.
We ought to celebrate, really. Start of a clean river. Didn't bring anything.
Long job.
We're halfway there.
Come on, girls. Hello, Jenny.
Thanks.
I won't stop myself. Got some deliveries to make.
Yeah, all right, Brian.
Bye.
So what do you reckon we'll find, Jim? A constable and a turner?
Well, it's either going to be the archaeological find of the century or Tom's long-lost games kit.
No, seriously. It's Beaujolais, 1644. A whole room full. I can smell it.
What do you think?
I think it's going to be a small, classic, early Victorian car.
Kelly, don't get the kids. They should be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, to all the treasures of the East. And failing that, don't let it be anything nasty.
can't see anything. There, torch. Have it?
Oh, it's a face.
It's all right.
Oh.
It's a doll. It's a doll. It's a doll!
It's her childhood. Couldn't bear to throw it away.